Dave, tell us a little bit about the music, and then I think what I'd like to do is play some of it.
Well, I came in later on in the musical segment of Pat's life. He had already established himself as one of the best rhythm and blues keyboard players in the city, and if not the world, because he traveled the world with some of the top blues acts, Coco Taylor, Sun Seals, Fenton Robinson, Byther Smith. In fact, he called me from Italy one day on a tour with Byther Smith, and he said, "You know what, Dave? I'm sick of this. Do me a favor. Book the band." It was almost a scene from the Blues Brothers. We're getting the band back together. And he said, "Let's just do it." That's where I had the most fun. And that's when we put the band together, and it really became what it was.
Well, you brought me a couple of CDs. One, I think, is on the jukebox over at the Red Line Tap, but the other one isn't. And tell us a little bit about the song we're going to play.
Well, the song is called City Boy. Now, Pat wrote so much great music, it's incredible. This one, as with a lot of his songs, was from the heart and basically a snapshot of what he went through as a kid, being kicked out of his house, saying, "Go ahead, hit the road, baby. We don't want you anymore." And this is how it was.
So this is called City Boy.
Yep, which he was.
We're going to ask to hear that from the studio downtown. City Boy, Pat Hall, and a couple of Fat Guys Band. Hey, we're back. We're back with more Live from the Heartland. This is Michael James. I'm your host for this morning's edition. I'm up here with Dave Grier. We're talking about our good friend Pat Hall, who just passed away. We're letting people know there will be a benefit, a memorial for Pat Hall. It'll be held on the 14th of February. That would be Valentine's Day Sunday at the Red Line Tap. That's 7006 North Glenwood Avenue. And that'll start at 5 o'clock. And we're assuming it's going to spill over. And so we're going to do more talking and hanging out with a piano in the Buffalo Bar here at the Heartland. But the music's going to take place over at the Red Line.
Of all the bands that Pat was ever in, starting with his very first band. We got a hold of all the members that are still alive. His second band, his third band, his fourth band. We have them all lined up in a row, and they will also back up single artists that are going to be playing single acoustic acts, but they'll have a backup band. So we're getting everybody involved, and in between sets we'll have single folk acts. Mickey Croissant's getting involved, and a lot of the other acts that Pat really hung with over here. And this,
yeah, he had a lot of friends.
This was a big part of his family right here.
He could be gnarly, and he made people crazy, but they loved him. I mean, that's what the message I'm getting from everybody is they love Pat Hall.
The guy made such an impact, and artistically,
even the people who he taught to swim, he'd put them in the water before they were quite ready.
That's right, and you know he saved quite a few drowning victims up there at Toohey Beach too. We actually did a reunion once for all the lifeguards up there, and I filmed it. It was called Sam's Boys, based on the book that was written by Chris Serb. And Chris, amazing guy, the way he traced this whole roots of all these lifeguards, and they were there for this reunion. And Pat got to talk to him. He walked around with the microphone, and we must have interviewed 60 different guys, and it's amazing how they all still knew each other.
Well, Dave Grier, you are a film producer. You make videos, and you do that for a living. Mm-hmm. And do you have a lot of footage of Pat Hall?
Oh, I have probably 1,000 hours of footage of Pat Hall, yes, over the years.
Oh, that'll be great to see some of that.
We're going to put together a lot of different stuff, including some of the fun video we had from us recording the album, the White Album, which was a combination of music and comedy. And I'll tell you, my wife and I are watching some of the stuff when we were recording the comedy bits. 70% of the comedy stuff didn't make it to the album, but it's so funny, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's as Pat and I used to say, if you can make somebody pass food through their nose, you have made them laugh properly. And we did that all across the country.
You know, another thing that the two of you did together was you had a radio show.
Yes, we did.
And I know you used to plug the Heartland on there. Tell us a little bit about the radio show, how that came to be, and what you would do on it.
Well, it came to be after 1998 when I actually retired from playing music with the band. I had pretty much had enough. I was going through some medical problems, and I couldn't really tour anymore. So I decided we were going to get on the radio by hook or by crook. I used to do it in high school, and I loved it. And so we went out and we talked to program director after program director, and they all said, there is no way, as long as I am in this town, that you will ever make it on the air on this radio station. Time and time again, that's what they said. So finally we said, the heck with it. We're going to broker our own time. We're going to go get our own advertisers, and we're going to do it all ourselves. And it lasted 2 years on WVVX and WJKL. VVX, we went down to a dilapidated studio in Highland Park with volume controls the size of my fist. And then the second show that went on JKL, we produced it right in my house. So we could just relax and do it, put it on a CD and send it to them, and it was on the air.
Let me ask you, how much do they charge you to put your own shows on? And when you broker your own spot?
It was something like $300 an hour. Yeah.
Maybe we'll branch out.
There you go.
Well, you know, you were telling me about a festival, it was actually a biker festival, Vietnam Biker Vets, when you guys played for 9 hours. Give us a little bit of the flavor of that event.
This was an old friend who actually owned a bar here in Rogers Park on Clark and Greenleaf.
What was that called?
I forget.
Okay.
Let's not go there. Anyway, we ended up on a farm in Wisconsin, a private little club meeting area for a certain biker gang, and we were set to play 3 sets and get out of there. After the third set, and after playing Born to be Wild for the 17th time, we decided it was time to get out of there while we still could. And as we tried to leave the stage, we were approached by several large fellas that had spent some time in Vietnam and all had very large guns on them. And they said, we would really like you to play another set. And they handed us a wad of cash. This went on for 8 more sets. It just continued, man. It was actually almost 15 hours straight. And by the time I stopped playing bass, the blood on my fingers just was stuck into the strings. And we decided it was time to leave. And I packed up the equipment, moved the truck over by Pat. And I was getting ready to get out to get his piano. He was talking to one of the bikers, and I went to pull my pants up because I have a little Dunlop's disease here, where your stomach Dunlops over your belt. And I pick up my pants, and this guy thinks I'm going for a gun. And the next thing I know, I've got a 9mm stuck in my gut. And he's looking at me like it's time to die. And Pat says, no, no, no. Don't you recognize him? He's the bass player that just played for 15 hours for you. It's simple. That's him. So quietly pulled the gun away, and that was the 3rd time I'd been held at gunpoint, but I was glad Pat was with me.
Pat was quite a guy. Now, tell us a little bit more. Tell just off the random. I mean, just tell us any other story you got about Pat Hall.
You know, Pat was incredible. Here's what I would sum up Pat. Of all the entertainers I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot of them because aside from my video production company, I'm now the house manager at the Skokie Theater, and we do 6 shows a week now for 2 years, and I've seen every act in Chicago. And I'll tell you what, he's the only one that could ever say, let's have a good time through his music. He basically allowed you to relax, let it all go, and if you wanted to make a fool of yourself, it was okay. There was very few people that could make you feel that comfortable in a show setting that you would just let it. I mean, we would bring people up from the audience, and they would scat sing with us. They would do all sorts of weird stuff. We had a ball, and it was the only time I ever saw an audience let loose like that. Several times we had people that were there at the show. Several times. The next day, they were reporting to jail. They had been sentenced for DUI stuff, killing people, all different stuff, but that was their day to report to jail the next day, but they wanted to see a comedy show the night before. And we were the guys they saw, and we got some really big, warm hugs, and that's when you know you've made it. It's not about going on Letterman or Carson. Carson's not here anymore. It's all about getting that kind of appreciation from an audience that really needs that kind of entertainment.